missile strikes and drone attacks on U.S. bases in Iraq and Syria. It's not a distant scenario. It's a possibility that military planners are considering seriously tonight. The idea alone sends a ripple of urgency through Washington, Baghdad, and Damascus, because the consequences of such an attack are immediate, unpredictable, and potentially far-reaching. It's a window into the volatile intersection of strategy, regional tensions, and the global balance of power. The first element to understand is the U.S. military presence in Iraq and Syria. For years, American forces have been stationed across the region to counter ISIS, support allied militias, and provide intelligence and logistics to partners. These bases, while often underreported in the headlines, are critical nodes for operations in the Middle East. But this strategic advantage comes with inherent risk. Proximity to Iranian-backed forces and an increasingly assertive Tehran makes these bases prime targets. Iran's approach in the region has been deliberate and multifaceted. Proxy militias and political allies across Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen. These forces serve as a strategic deterrent, enabling Iran to project influence without committing its conventional forces. From Tehran's perspective, an attack on a U.S. base would not just be military, it would be symbolic. It would signal both capability and resolve, demonstrating to regional rivals and domestic audiences alike the timing of any potential attack is also significant. Over the past months, tensions have escalated through a series of proxy clashes, targeted strikes, and economic sanctions. Each incident raises the stakes, making miscalculations more likely. A single strike tonight could trigger immediate retaliation, sparking a cycle of escalation that neither side can fully control. Military planners in Baghdad and Washington are acutely aware of this risk, knowing that even a limited attack could rapidly expand into a broader confrontation. It's also critical to understand the geography and political environment. U.S. bases in Iraq are situated within a complex web of sovereignty and local politics. Baghdad must balance its relationship with Washington against domestic pressures and Iran's influence. Syrian bases, often in contested territories, face even greater uncertainty due to the presence of multiple actors, including Russian forces, local militias, and foreign mercenaries. Any action taken by Iran could be interpreted differently depending on which base is targeted, where, and by whom. From a strategic standpoint, Iran's calculus would consider multiple dimensions. The country must weigh the benefits of demonstrating strength against the risk of provoking a U.S. military response. Tehran is unlikely to act without a clear signal that the costs of retaliation are manageable. Yet, history shows that in high-stakes environments, even cautious actors can make decisions that escalate conflict unexpectedly. Proximity, perception, and miscommunication all play a role in these tense calculations. The potential U.S. response would also be immediate and multifaceted. Washington has emphasized a zero-tolerance approach to attacks on its personnel or facilities. This could include targeted airstrikes, missile defense countermeasures, or rapid deployment of reinforcements. The goal would be to neutralize immediate threats while signaling resolve. However, such a response carries its own risks. Escalation, civilian casualties, and regional destabilization are all possible outcomes. The speed of modern military operations leaves little room for error. Allies and regional powers are watching closely. Israel, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE have their own security calculations and may respond indirectly or through diplomatic channels. Gulf states, while aligned with the U.S., are increasingly cautious. Iran, in contrast, has its own network of regional partnerships and can rely on proxies to act in asymmetric ways. This web of actors makes the consequences of a strike extremely difficult to predict. The cyber dimension adds another layer of complexity. Both the United States and Iran have advanced cyber capabilities capable of disrupting infrastructure, communications, and military systems. In a scenario where bases are attacked tonight, cyber retaliation could unfold simultaneously, impacting not just military assets but also critical civilian infrastructure. This amplifies the stakes and expands the potential for unintended consequences. Economically, the implications are immediate. Iran sits along key shipping lanes and spike global energy prices and disrupts trade. Even limited strikes would ripple through financial markets, increasing volatility and uncertainty worldwide. The economic consequences are not abstract. They are felt in real time, influencing policy decisions and strategic calculations. The human dimension is equally urgent. U.S. personnel, local contractors, and civilians in the region face immediate danger. Evacuation and emergency response plans are in place, but the psychological impact of potential strikes heightens tension across multiple populations. This adds pressure on both governments to act decisively while avoiding unnecessary escalation. Looking at history, similar situations have occurred before, but 2026 presents a unique convergence of factors. Iran's military capabilities have grown. U.S. military forces are more technologically advanced and dispersed, and regional alliances are more complex. Past confrontations were often slower, allowing time for diplomacy or de-escalation. Today, the speed and precision of operations, combined with high-stakes political calculations, create a scenario. This is why analysts and military planners describe 2026 as one of the most dangerous periods in U.S.-Iran relations. The combination of proximity, capability, tension, and political pressure creates a scenario where a single strike could have cascading consequences. The unpredictability is not just theoretical. It is the reality military and diplomatic teams are preparing for tonight. As we move into part 2, we will explore the potential consequences of a U.S. base attack, how global powers might respond, and what this could mean for regional stability, international alliances, and the broader balance of power. The story is not just about a single night. It is about strategy, risk, and the high-stakes environment shaping the modern Middle East. If Iran were to strike U.S. bases tonight, the consequences would unfold almost immediately, both militarily and politically. The first hours would be chaotic, alarms sounding, emergency protocols activated, and commanders making split-second decisions to protect personnel and assets. Rapid response teams would move into position. Missile defense systems would be engaged, and intelligence units would work to assess the scale of the attack in real time. In this high-pressure environment, even a single misstep could escalate into a broader confrontation before diplomacy has a chance to intervene. The most immediate concern is loss of life and damage to critical infrastructure. U.S. bases are fortified, but Iran's arsenal of missiles and drones is sophisticated, and their use in coordinated strikes could cause significant casualties. There's a real risk of fatalities among both U.S. service members and local personnel. Each life lost would intensify political pressure in Washington and Tehran, narrowing the window for measured response and raising the likelihood of retaliatory action. Beyond the immediate tactical impact, the attack would trigger a rapid reassessment of U.S. strategy in the region.